So here's some books I picked up today, guys. There are 24 books. Actually, this is 25. I picked this up yesterday from a different thrift store, and that's a good one. But I just kind of grouped them here based upon price. So these yellow and green tags were half off. So all of these, which are mostly $1.99, there's a 99-cent there, but those are all dollar, and that one's 50 cents. So those were good deals. And then over here, these were also half off. This one was $2.99, $2.99, $1.99, so $1, $1.50, $1.50. If I remember correctly, they're not going for big money. I think this one's going for the most, but these I need to send out pretty quickly. I don't know if I'll be able to do it today, but by tomorrow, Saturday, I should be able to send those all out so that I can take advantage of what's left of back to school time. These two here were regular price, so these are all $2 and $1.50. I spent more than I usually do with some of these because either they're selling fast or there's some money in them. Like this one, The Untouchables, Elliot Ness. Hardcover here is actually going for good money, probably over 20 bucks, but it's going to take a little bit of time to sell. This one here is going for good money, I believe, but this one was $3. I don't remember if it was 20 bucks or under 20, but it was in that range, and that's a good one. This one here was another good one. This one was only $1.50, and it stood out to me, and it turned out that it's worth getting. And this one here, Stone, was actually $4, $3.99, but I should be able to sell it for anywhere between $25 to $30. 27 or so, I believe, is the lowest FBA, and it sells really, really steady. It's one of those big ones, coffee table book, lots of photos, a little bit heavier, but even for $4, if it sells for, let's say, $27, $28, I'll still make probably about at least four times my money. So I rarely ever spend that much, but sometimes you have to spend up if there's not as much available for $1 or under, and that's okay. And I'm kind of changing the way I go about sourcing in that respect. I'm willing to pay a little bit more money if the profit is still there. If I'm at least going to make 3 to 4 times my money, then it shouldn't take too long for it to sell. So today was a successful thrift store run. Was able to get 24 books and plus the other one 25. I'm going to plan on listing them today and trying to get them out by tomorrow at the latest. It's already 3:15 here, and UPS closes at 6:30, I believe. Considering I have my son, I'm probably not going to be able to do the entire shipment by today, but I'll try to get it out by tomorrow because some of those, I want to get to the warehouse as soon as possible because they're more school-oriented books. I want to see if I can still take advantage of the last week here. This past week has been really good for back to school, and this next week after Labor Day should still see some sales. It'll probably taper off, I would imagine, towards the end of the week, but considering today is the 3rd, so 6th through the 10th next week, so I'm still assuming there's going to be some good sales next week. So hopefully I'll be able to sell those books next week that are school related. I like to tell you, kind of things that I experience when I'm out sourcing, and had another interesting one today where I was at the thrift store. I was almost done, had a few more bookshelves to go. I already had at least 18 to 20 books in my basket, and this guy who was just browsing books, probably easily in his 60s, probably mid to late 60s, which I guess has no bearing on this story, but just kind of give you a picture. He was looking at books, and then he was walking away to leave, but he was walking past me, and he had a book in his hand, and he said, Dean Koontz, a signed Koontz book, and it was an old hardcover, and he tried to hand it to me, and I said, oh, no thanks. And he goes, oh, well, that's better than what you're picking, and then, put it back on the shelf and walked away. And clearly he had no idea what he was talking about, because by and large, author signatures, except for a few rare cases, are not worth anything and do not increase the value of a book very much, if any. And I actually looked the book up, and there were multiple offers, FBA offers, for like $3 to $4. He doesn't know what he's talking about, but it's another example of someone thinking they know what they're talking about and then deciding to open their mouth and talk about that thing that they know nothing about. So I understand, he was trying to help me, so he was putting a good foot forward, but then saying, oh, it's better than what you're picking, not having any idea what I had picked other than the books on the top of the pile in my basket, and not knowing where I'm selling or how it works to sell books these days in 2016. What are the good books to buy? What are the good books to source and list and sell? I should have said, well, maybe not should have said it, but what I thought about saying was, well, if you think it's valuable, why don't you sell it yourself? Why don't you go and find a place to sell it? Good luck, because no one's going to give you any money for that, especially if there's multiple copies on Amazon. You're not going to get any money for it on eBay or anywhere else. So I always find it fascinating, people that think they know what they're talking about and they end up not knowing what they're talking about, but yet when he goes back home and maybe tells somebody about his experience or thinks about it even, he's going to think that he was right and I was the crazy one. And why was I getting all those books that aren't worth any money? But if you would think about it, why would I be spending time there looking up those books? Clearly he sees me looking them up on my phone, putting them into my basket to buy if I wasn't going to buy books that would make me money. Am I just wasting my time? So it doesn't make any sense to me. But it's always interesting to hear what people have to say and to let you guys know, because I'm sure you experience similar things when you're outsourcing. Most people don't care what I'm doing. The few that notice and actually try to figure out what I'm doing don't ever say anything. Very few people, probably 1 out of 10 people, even less than that, probably like less than 5%, probably 2% of people actually say something to me about what I'm doing. Usually if they say anything, they're working at the thrift store. And a lot of thrift stores, employees don't say anything because they don't care. They're just getting through their job, getting through their day. So that was just another example of someone putting their foot in their mouth, not knowing what they're talking about, especially when it comes to reselling books. And I appreciate the offer of the book, trying to help me out clearly, or maybe his intention was just to be right, to say, oh, I know what I'm talking about, so you should take this book. And then when I said no thanks, he had to say he was right and I was crazy with what I was picking. I intended on posting a video on Wednesday and Thursday and today, Friday. But what happened with the video on Wednesday is iMovie, which I use to edit the movies, was not working properly for a particular thing I needed to do, which is called picture-in-picture. You take a video and drop it in another one, and it wasn't working properly. It disappeared, it was invisible, etc. I don't want to get into the details, but I was going to make a video about camel, camel, camel. I did make the video, and I recorded the screen as well as myself talking about it, and I wanted to include both those videos on the screen, and I wasn't able to. So that really frustrated me, and I wasn't able to post or edit the video and then export it and post it. So then I decided, well, maybe it's time to move on up to Final Cut Pro, and I went for the free trial, put in my information, they gave me the link, went to download it, downloaded it, and then went to open it up, and the computer wouldn't open it up. So that got me more frustrated. So I just kind of threw my hands up and didn't make a video for the last few days, even though my intention was to make a video every day of this week. And I started out that way with the 2 videos to start the week off. But anyway, video is going to come out at some point. Either it's going to be not quite the video I wanted to put out, and I have to just use the screen capture that I took, the screen recording, or I'm going to have to figure out a way to download Final Cut Pro to my computer so I can get that working. But either way, it's going to come out at some point. It's probably not going to happen this week, possibly next week. So that video will be coming along. And I also want to make a video about how sales were in August, so I'll do that, about how my sales were. And I had a record month, the best month I've ever had. January of this year, back to school month, I did 260, and that was my most I had ever done. And then, of course, I beat that a few months past just by accumulating more inventory, sending in more consistent, frequent shipments, and sourcing more. So now this month, I've been able to surpass my best month so far, which I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was in the 200s. I'll talk about that, and it's just been a great month, and hopefully another week or so in September here will finish off the back to school stretch strong. Hopefully you guys had some good numbers. I was seeing on some of the Facebook groups for August, people were posting their numbers, just having crazy numbers. I'm talking about doing over 1,000 book sales and doing over $30,000 in gross sales, which is way more than I'm doing, way more. They're more than doubling what I did in terms of moving units, more than doubling it. So while I'm ecstatic and happy about what I did, I'm definitely going to be setting some big goals for January back to school. I want to do even better than I did this month, this back to school stretch. And of course, the holidays will be phenomenal as well for books, CDs, VHS, vinyl, all of it. Really the best time of the year from July to about beginning to mid-February. Those are the best months of the year. Let's just keep it up, basically. Just be consistent with your sourcing and shipping. Now that we're finishing out back to school, we can look towards Q4 and specifically November and December. So November basically is going to be good, a good build up to December, but then December, about mid-December or so, sales go through the roof because of people buying last minute Christmas presents and stuff for themselves as well. So, but we're just in September, and it's more important just to be consistent regardless of the time of the year, to always have sales. And that's what I found since I kicked up my shipments and sourcing, more often, or rather sending in shipments more frequently than waiting to have bigger ones. And just building up my inventory over 2,000 is over 2,500 even, is that regardless of the month, you're going to have sales. People buy books all year. It doesn't matter. Back to school and holidays are just spike months. Those are out of the ordinary. But the majority of the months, so about 8 or 9 months of the year, you don't have those. You just have regular sales. And guess what? People buy books on Amazon and CDs and VHS tapes and records. Speaking of CDs and VHS tapes, in August, I did well with those as well. I sold more CDs because I have more CDs in stock, but I also sold some VHS tapes, a few for good money. So on top of the book sales, I had other sales as well. That's why I believe it's important to diversify. I only diversify within media, but you can diversify however you want. But for me, that works. Get good at certain categories, certain specific products, and go big on those. But I got some big goals. I want to double my numbers. So a year from now, I would like to hit that 1,000. That's probably my big goal, to get 1,000 sales next August. More than double what I did this August. And I definitely know I can do it. I don't know if I can do it by January, but I'll shoot for a bigger number than what I did this August. Another 100 or 200, hopefully. So hopefully everything's going well, and you're gonna get some good sourcing in today on Friday and Saturday, which is great for estate sales, garage sales, and even maybe some book sales. Okay guys, the books in the box, there's 19 of them from the estate sale that I went to last weekend. They brought out more books, so I found 19 books. There's a couple of really good ones in there. And so that was worth it for $15, so less than $1 a book. And I just went to this yard sale. Here's some good ones here. These two especially. This one. And then all of these down here except this one. So all of those. I got 15 books for $8. Those are mostly quick flips except for a couple of these. Okay, here is another shipment. 45 books. It's 45 because 4 of them we're going to go to Delaware. So instead of sending 4 books to Delaware, I decided to take those out, put them in the next shipment. So here's some books from estate sale as well as some garage sales. But it didn't fit the box, and it didn't fit my normal box, so I had to put it in this one. So what I've done is I've going to resize it, and using this razor, I just go around and I score it. You can see here, I've scored it all around. Goes all around, you get the point. So now, all I do is to the side and just go all the way up. So then I can just fold it over real easy. So now all I have to do is fold them over. See? Fold them all over and just tape it up. And it's a smaller box, which means it should cost a little bit less because it's packed to the gills with books. Now this is not something that I invented. This is something I found on a YouTube video about how to resize a box if you don't have an official box resizer. So that works well. It's pretty fast. So as always, remember, keep booking.